Hey everyone, welcome back to Symmetrically Fit. My name's Dustin Gotro with Symmetry Personal Training, and I've got Katy Garlinghouse with the Fit Pelvis today. Quick warning, I do have my dumb parrot in here somewhere, so she's probably going to be flying around and distracting me the whole time, so I'll try and not let that take away from what I'm thinking about on here. So we're going to do things a lot different today. Katy and I are just going to kind of have a conversation on here. I actually just sprung this topic on Katy about 3 minutes ago. Um, so she didn't know what we were talking about today. I changed it up. Um, Hopefully she doesn't mind that. You don't mind, do you, Katy?
No, I just didn't have any time to research, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's kind of what I
wing it.
wanted. I wanted you to be the client today. Um, so I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about the kind of one of the two major things that none of my clients want to talk about. So today is cardio. The other one, just a heads up, is meal planning. That's definitely gonna be a topic real soon. But I want to stick with cardio today, and the topic has it's kind of just been like something on my mind for the last couple weeks. I ran into some research while studying for my certification exam, and it actually opened my eyes to something I was lacking in my programming for myself. I added it in there and I started just kind of paying more attention. And I noticed I have one client out of 16 that are actually doing enough cardio. One single client. So the other 15, including you, Katy.
Not me. That's
and
what I was laughing.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to put myself in there because I just started as I started thinking about this last week. So I want to I want to dig down into why that is and kind of go over some things that I think everybody needs to start really taking more seriously. And so all of my clients out there listening to this will start doing their cardio. So, um,
We can hope.
yeah. So it's this topic is going to address a few different common reasons why a lot of you may not be seeing the results you want. So we're definitely going to relate it to that, but I'm going to kind of keep the focus on actual health and wellness and where cardio falls into that. So um, the hopefully today's episode can give you guys some practical ways to tune up your actual fitness a bit, but also really start taking care of your heart now before it's too late. So we're going to kind of go over what brought this all about, why I started thinking about this, and why I wanted to cover it today. So just to kind of get us in the right mindset, Katy, what give me some reasons why you think people don't do adequate cardio? Why are people not doing enough of it? I'm gonna
Oh,
pause for a
I'm
second.
muted. I'm muted. I'm
Ah,
sorry.
there we go. I was like,
I
what's
was
going on?
muted. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. So I'm
let's
talking to
answer
myself.
that again.
So I think people don't know what is adequate. Um, they don't. It's boring. Like cardio is boring, and um, my kids are here.
And
You have to
distractions.
jump. And distractions and really like I mean for me, like I have kids, I have responsibilities, I have work, and like there's a million things I would rather do.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely going to touch on all of that. That's all. I think everybody out there can relate to every single thing you just said. it's 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 hard to balance that and to actually find time for it when life starts getting crazy. Um, so activity wise, what is your lifestyle like? Because I want people to hear that. I know obviously, but I want people to hear what's like your daily look like.
Yeah, so My activity, I mean, I get up in the morning before the kids. I'm getting ready for the day, getting them out the door. And then I'm at work and I am up and moving. I'm working with patients, or I'm either working with patients all day or I'm sitting at the computer. Neither of those are super active, but they do have some activity in them, or at least the working with patients. And then I pick up my kids in the afternoon and I am moving all day. I probably don't sit down again until dinner. Um, and sorry, it's in the hallway. Go get water. You're gonna have to edit out all of my kids talking today.
All right.
The um, so I am moving. I mean, we're going to the playground, we're going to the pool, we are working around the house, we're out in the yard, we go for walks, I'm taking the dog for a walk. We are doing and moving all afternoon, most of the day. And then if I get my go and do my workout in the evening, I'm doing that, and then it is bedtime and I'm out and passed out.
Yeah.
So I'm fairly active during the day, but I am working out 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay. So you're even outside of your workouts, your lifestyle is more active than most. You're moving around a lot. You're getting out doing walks. You're going to parks, playing with the kids. And I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to the importance of having an active lifestyle. Um, I think where the problem comes in is, and this is some research I ran into, is a lot of people don't understand the difference in activity and planned exercise in relation to the heart, right? So, an active lifestyle obviously is going to help with getting in shape, getting leaner, making sure that you're able to stay mobile and keep moving, especially if you have a sedentary job. That's awesome. And it helps with everything. And with most fitness goals, it does help. Um, the difference is that active lifestyle alone is not enough to reduce risk of heart disease, which we're going to get into a lot more detail on the research on that, and some statistics on how at risk we really are, to various types of heart disease. And unfortunately, just an active lifestyle, while great for our goals, is not enough to actually reduce that risk and keep the heart healthy. So the planned exercise is going to be more actual planned cardio, resistance workouts, group class, whatever type of actual fitness you do, not necessarily, going out, playing golf, shooting basketball, that type of thing. Again, all of that's awesome and great for you. You need to do it, but it's not enough to keep the heart actually healthy. So, I am going to share my screen here. Katie, do you have anything to add to that before I get to that? Well, I can't hear you again.
I'm sorry, I keep muting because of the kids. Um,
You can leave
I no, I
leave
don't
the
have anything.
noise. I think that's
We need.
it fits what we're trying to get to today. Life is freaking busy and chaotic, and people
It
need to
is.
see that. So let it go.
Yes. Okay. I don't have anything to add. I am curious to see what you have to say.
Okay, so you can see my screen now. So before I
Yep.
want to get into these facts, Katie, you and I had a conversation not long ago as we were preparing for one of these. We were getting the outline ready for the podcast, and you mentioned something that kind of stuck with me, about using scary words. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So like the words that we use matter on how people perceive things and how they respond to things and their beliefs about their body.
Yes. And I thought about that a lot. And in the context that we were talking about that, I agree with it 100%.
Mhm.
But I thought about it today because these stats, I want you guys to look into this. I want you to get on Google, find some research on heart disease and how common it really is. Um, this. particular instance, I hope this does scare everybody out there. It should. This is it's getting so common and so serious now that it's like almost all of us are at risk of having some type of heart problem when we get older. And the fix for it is so simple. It's so simple. So we're going to go over that, but I want to just kind of jot a few of these, throw a few of these stats out here real quick. So this has been known for a long time. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups. So essentially, just about everyone. Heart disease is the leading cause of death. One person dies every 33 seconds from cardiovascular disease. About 695,000 people died from heart disease in 2021. That's one in every five deaths. It goes on to talk about coronary artery disease, CAD, which is the most common heart disease of all the heart diseases, killing 375,000 people in 2021. And it goes on to talk more about heart attacks. Every year, about 805,000 people in the United States have a heart attack, so on and so on. Check out some of these stats, guys. Go on Google, search, and look into this. I've been going through a lot of this research, and I've verified all of these facts. This is from the CDC website, just because it was the easiest to kind of throw out there just the stats, but there's tons of research on this stuff. It's so common, and people are getting younger and younger that are having these problems. So I want you guys to do this. I want you to go to Google and just type in cardio effects on heart disease. You'll notice I put in NASM because of exactly what pops up right here. Evidence-based program. Those of you that know about NASM, everything they do is all heavily researched and all evidence-based. So there's actual scientific research to prove everything they talk about. Anything they have, even on their blogs, all of it is fully researched. All right. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through just to go over a few things here to kind of make a point. Exercise makes your heart stronger. A stronger heart pumps blood more easily throughout the process, keeping blood pressure healthy and reducing blood pressure, lowering heart disease risk. Sorry. And it kind of keeps scrolling down. We run into the same thing. This one talks a little more about diet with heart disease. So that's one other thing. Again, we'll talk about nutrition a little later on. Reduce risk of heart disease, lowered resting heart rate, improved cardiac health. Everything that pops up on here is about the proof that's out there about cardio lowering the risk of heart disease. And that's just the first page on Google. There's tons of stuff out there, guys. It's not hard to find. Go on Google, look it up, start researching some of this stuff. It should scare you. We need to start doing something about this. And again, I include myself and I include Katy in this. Both of us are guilty of not doing our cardio. So we're going to kind of get into why that is. So Katy, just kind of looking briefly through what I just went through, and we all already know this. It's overwhelmingly obvious that cardio will reduce our risk of heart disease. If we know that, why do you think we still aren't doing our cardio?
I mean, I still have to go back to it's boring, and people feel like people feel like it needs to look like a certain thing. It needs to look like running. It needs to look like being on the elliptical for an hour. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard. It's hard work.
yeah, it is, and I think what it comes down to at the very core of it is we don't want to. We don't like doing it. It's not fun, except for you endurance weirdos out there that like running and cycling and stuff like that. Nobody wants to do it. It's not fun. And then I think kind of the other half of it is we don't really see a need to do cardio. For a lot of people, we don't feel like we need to. So that's kind of where I want to focus is the people out there, the half of the people out there that they don't see a need to do cardio, so they just kind of don't do it. And I'm going to kind of, I guess, call myself out on this one and go over a mistake that I was making with my programming that Katy, you and I had a conversation during one of your sessions that kind of, I thought about it and then I felt kind of convicted because I realized, oh man, I'm getting caught up in this again, which is kind of an ongoing thing. I keep getting caught up in it. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So do you remember the question that you asked me when we were training the other day?
The one about your training plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
asked me, um, what, do you remember the wording exactly?
So, I don't remember exactly, but I was like, what is the benefit to lifting that much and trying to gain so much and lift so heavy in a short time period versus building that endurance, like strength over a longer time period?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So where I want to go with this, my bird's flying around, excuse me. I want to, I'm going to kind of open up a little bit. So it's slightly uncomfortable for me. So bear with me. I feel like our goal, our fitness goals in general, can get deeply emotional. And I've seen that for years and years with my clients. Everybody comes in and it's just, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to gain muscle. I want to feel good. And then as I get to know them after a few weeks, I start finding the real reason why they're there. And it's always something deeper. It's always something that they're deeply emotionally attached to. And so I started thinking about that. And after we had that conversation, right? So it was, my goal is to gain as much muscle mass as absolutely possible right now. And I'm doing whatever I have to do with my programming to do it, which unfortunately involves lifting heavier weights than I probably should be, putting my body through a lot. But I've always kind of been obsessive like that. I like to go to the extreme. And so, you were kind of asking like, what's the benefit to doing that as opposed to just doing it at a slower rate? And my answer was and still is, it doesn't make sense. It's not the way to do it. It's just me being impatient. But where this relates to what we're talking about with cardio is I realized what it really was. So when I was younger, I was always tiny. I was always very, very, very skinny. I was very insecure about it. Um, and I mean, from like when I was in my young teens, that started. It continued all the way through my life, even as I got into the fitness industry in 2006. Um, I still had that issue. I was surrounded by guys that were bigger than me, stronger than me, and it always bothered me. It's always been a really emotional thing for me that made me feel insecure. And so that's kind of where my goal of growing is rooted. Now, I think we all have emotional goals like that, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we do need to focus on those goals. The problem is when we get so hyper focused on those goals, we miss things. And in this case, what I realized is I'm so caught up in trying to gain weight that for me, in my head, when I don't really think about it properly, it doesn't seem like I need to do cardio. I don't need to lose weight. I'm trying to gain weight. I don't need to burn fat because I'm already fairly lean at the moment. I eat great, so that keeps me lean. And honestly, I don't have any logical reason that I need to be in good cardio shape. I don't ever have to run unless I'm running for my life anyway. Um, I don't have anything that requires me to be in good shape. And so on the surface, it just looks like, well, I don't really need to do cardio. There's no point. However, we need to remember it's not all about that emotional goal. The reason we're in the gym has a lot more to do with actual health and wellness and the heart, where we're going to kind of focus in on, right? So the cardio we're doing is not necessarily just for your fitness goals. It's for your heart. It's to actually reduce the risk of heart disease. As you do some research, I hope all of you do, you'll find the proof is out there. It works. It reduces the risk of heart disease more than anything else that's been tried, and we're just not doing it. And I think for a lot of us, it's like me, you just don't feel like you need to. There's not a reason to. Or as Katy was saying, you don't want to. You don't like it. It's not fun. But I want this podcast today to open everybody's eyes, and I want people to start really making some changes. We have to start doing cardio. We have to start changing this. I mean, you're seeing people die in their 40s and 50s of heart attacks. It's crazy. Nobody should be having a heart attack at that age. It's gotten so out of control. We've got to start making a change. Um, that's kind of it for that. I feel like our emotional goals sometimes distract us from what's really important. So remember why you're really in the gym. I think heart disease of any variation, that's bird's butt in my face. Heart disease in any variation is kind of like a silent killer. We don't see it. Like I said, I don't see a reason why I need to do cardio. It's not visible. It's not cosmetic. So it's easy to kind of look past it and not do it. However, when I started really thinking about this week, I did start adding cardio into my programming. So, Katy, just so you know, now you're going to be accountable to doing yours because I'm doing mine.
All right.
So we're going to start doing
We'll see.
cardio.
Next week you can check up on me.
Yep, we're gonna do it. Um, so just we need to keep that in mind that we're doing cardio for the heart. So let's kind of talk about. You mentioned earlier, Katy, that a lot of people just don't know what to do. They don't know how to do cardio. They don't know if they're doing too much, not enough. So let's kind of get into some details with that. For you, what's your favorite time to do cardio? I know you don't like it, but if you're going to do it, what's your
If
favorite
I'm
time to
gonna do
do it?
it, I would love to do it in the morning at like, really, this is crazy, but like 6 a.m., 5:30, 6 a.m. is my like favorite time to work out because it's quiet, nobody bothers me. Um, but realistic, like if I'm gonna do it in the afternoon at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock is when it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but uh, is there a time I should be doing it?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different opinions on it. So there is, since you mentioned early mornings, there is a ton of research on the benefits of fasted cardio, which obviously you're going to want to do in the morning before you eat because you don't want to go all day without eating and then do cardio. But there's a ton of research on what it does to the metabolism and what it does for the heart when you do your cardio early in the morning before you eat anything. Um, I I agree with that. There's research proving it, so I can't disagree with it. However, I think we also have to keep in mind everybody's different. Everybody reacts to different things different. And for me personally, I can't do anything until I eat. I have to eat immediately when I get out of bed. I cannot work out on an empty stomach. I've tried it. I get so shaky and weak. And I think a lot of people are that way. So I think in the morning is a great time to do cardio if you can pull it off. But I also think so many of us at this point, we're just not doing it. I don't think it matters what time we're doing it right now. We can get more detailed with that, but I think right now everybody just needs to start doing cardio, get in the routine of doing it to where it becomes a daily thing or a habit. Um, so
Yeah.
let's, what's that?
Well, oh, sorry. I was gonna say, something is better than nothing.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And so many of us are doing nothing for our heart right now. So, yeah, definitely. And I guess just to summarize that, you need to make it easy, you need to make it convenient, and you need to make it a routine, right? I'm going to talk a little bit in a little bit about how you can make it a little bit easier to do and actually take a little bit less time to do it. Making it convenient. My opinion there is if you're already going to the gym and you're working out, do your cardio while you're there. It doesn't take long. It's 10, 15 minutes. You're already there. It's convenient. It's right there. Hop on a machine and do it. Um, and then make it a routine. It's, again, if you're working out 2, 3 days a week, make it a routine to do your cardio every time you're there. Um, to where it's harder to get out of it because, you know, we're all going to try and get out of it because we just don't like it. So, um, Katie, are you aware? So, like when you do your cardio, are you aware of what your target heart rate is when you're doing your cardio?
No, no, not at all. I just go off of like, am I going to die in the next 5 minutes? And if not, I might need to push harder. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think
But I
I think a lot of people are that way. Like you said, a lot of people just don't know how. So I'm gonna kind of give you guys I guess a starting point for that, right? So um, your max heart rate, the formula, your max heart rate is 220 minus your age. Your target heart rate should be anywhere from 50 to 85% of that max heart rate. All right, you can find that formula on Google. Just literally just Google target heart rate for cardio, and you'll find that entire formula. It's super easy to do. Um, so that's kind of like your starting point is within that percentage range of your max heart rate. Um,
okay.
Go ahead.
Uh, well, I maybe we'll get to this, but so what if you're like 70 and that makes your target heart rate 130 or 100, what 150? I can't do math in my head.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
150. Yeah. So like should we always be using this formula?
Yes. So I'm going to kind of go over what I have done and what I do with my clients. This is my personal opinion, just coming from a fitness professional perspective. Okay, so um, yes, I think this formula is fairly accurate to find a starting point, to have an idea of okay, I need to shoot for this range. However, for that particular example, somebody that's 70 years old, if you're just starting cardio, you've never done it before, you're 70 years old, when you start trying to get to that target heart rate, let's say the target heart rate's 140, you get to 120 and you feel like you're dying, obviously you don't need to go to the 140, right? So there's going to be some variation, and there's a lot of variables on age, the condition, your past, your history. So here's how I've done it. I did figure out my max heart rate, and then I started with that. Now, again, as a starting point for me. So I found for me personally, when I do my cardio, I'm able to keep my heart rate between 165 and 175 for about 10 minutes. This is after I work out, immediately after. So my heart rate's already elevated, usually around 120 to 130 right after my workout. And then I hop on, go into my 10 to 15 minutes of cardio, and that's 4 days a week. The 165, I want to say the top of the range for my target heart rate was somewhere around like 150, maybe 155. All right. So I'm way above what that formula says my target heart rate is. So I think that's what a lot of people need to do. You find that target heart range, you shoot for it, start with 10 minutes, shoot for that target heart range. If you're below it, stay below it. If you're above it and you're comfortable and you're able to maintain that, great. I think the way I think about it and the way I explain it to my clients is when you first start doing cardio, you need to find a top heart rate that you can hit comfortably. Obviously, you're not going to go until you pass out. But when you find that top heart rate, you shouldn't be able to have a conversation with somebody next to you. You shouldn't be able to talk. You should be breathing really, really heavily. Um, Kind of put that in your mind as that's my max. I don't need to go above that, and I can't maintain it that high. And then once you hit that, drop back down, find a range that you can hold for a full 10 minutes without jumping around. So, again, mine's 165 to 175. I can keep it in between those two numbers anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. So I know that's a decent range for me. And it's worked. It's going to change over time. Obviously, it's going to change depending on what type of cardio you're doing. But I think everyone needs to find that range that they can hold for a period of time. All right.
Yeah. I'm going to put a little COA in here and that,
Okay.
hey, I am talking right now. I need you to wait. I will help you in a minute. I am talking. A little COA in here in that we are obviously not telling you exactly what your target max heart rate is and what your target rate is. So
Yes.
talk to your doctor, work with a health professional to make sure that you are safely figuring out these numbers and doing your workout.
Yes.
And then I have a question for you. So with this, like, okay, say you figure out your max heart rate, does it need to your target heart rate, does your heart rate need to stay in that range the entire time to get the benefits?
Okay. Before I
Or
answer
like
that,
how long, like if you go in and out of that? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So before I answer that, I just want to add a little bit to what you just said, just to be abundantly clear. You made me think of this. Um, if any of you are out there listening, you have any type of condition, heart condition, lung condition, whatever it is, if you have health issues, do not go straight to doing this. I'm glad Katy brought that up. You need to go talk to your doctor and let them decide where your target heart rate is, because that is the one population with, especially with heart conditions, that your target heart range is probably not going to fall within these parameters. All right. So thank you for bringing
Yeah.
that up,
And
Katy. That's good stuff.
um, if you're on medications for your heart, your target heart rate is going to be different because the medications alter it on
Yep.
purpose, so that will change. Yeah, so definitely talk to your doctor.
Okay. So back to the question. I think how long we keep it within what range depends entirely on what you're trying to do. Um, for general, just working the heart, if you're not really focusing on trying to lose weight, I think for most people, probably 80 to 90% of people, you can use this formula and stay within your target heart range. Um, I want to say, actually, let me get real numbers here yet, real quick. So there's target heart rate for cardio. If you Google that, you can get all of this information. Um, so there's actual percentages for different things, and I'm not finding it right now anyway. But essentially, I want to say 70% is like more vigorous activity, and then like 60 to 65% is moderate. So start off with moderate. I think for most people, you can stay in that moderate range for general heart health. I don't think it takes much, and that's where I have most of my clients. The ones I do have clients that are trying to lose quite a bit of weight. For those clients, not only do I want them at the top of that range for as long as possible, up to 20 minutes. I don't have anybody do longer than 20 minutes of cardio at a time. But a lot of them go way above that. Like I said, mine's way above that. I have two clients that I'm thinking of right now that they're way above that. They're probably closer to like 80, 85%. So the way I judge that is I will actually stand next to them while they're doing their cardio. As long as they can still answer my questions, even if it's quick, short answers, if they can stay at that intensity and answer my questions, then I know they're okay. If they get to the point where they're struggling to get a word out to answer a question, I'll take them down from there. That's a little too high on the intensity. So I guess the real answer to your question is I believe that's something that most people need to find a fitness professional to guide them on that. I think that's a decision that a fitness professional needs to. There's lots of tests we can put you through with your cardio and figure out what range you need to be at. So if you're having trouble kind of finding that range, I think you find a fitness professional and get them to help you, even if it's just for a session or two, to learn where you should be, and then go off on your own and do it. So that's a
Yeah.
great question.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know a lot of time we talk about the 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity during the week.
Yeah,
And we actually really should be doing more than that, but that is a minimum of activity. And that is not cardio specific, where you're not getting into that higher intensity. It's not going to be the same load on your heart, but moderate intensity activity can be included in this, or it can overlap.
yeah. Yeah, that's where we get back into that active lifestyle again. That contributes to it, so that does need to happen. But I think we all need to start taking this a little more seriously and start actually doing our cardio. So I'd love you
Mhm.
guys out there to get on our Facebook pages, get on our Instagram, and start talking on there. Let's start all doing our cardio, holding each other accountable. Check up on each other. I think that accountability is important when it comes to things like this, and we got to start making a change at some point, because this is just, it's gotten so out of control. It's really getting scary, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have heart problems. So I'm going to start doing my cardio. Remember, it's not all about just hitting your goals. And even though you may feel like you don't need to do cardio, I promise all of you need to be doing cardio. Um, Again, for my clients out there, I have one client that is extremely disciplined, shows up 30 minutes early every single session to do her cardio. You know who that is out there. It's literally the only client that I have that does that. We gotta make some changes. So all of my clients out there, expect to be having a real serious talk about cardio within the next week. We're going to start making some changes there, focusing a little bit more on the heart health. Katy, did you have anything to add before we wrap up?
No, well, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I would just want to say cardio does not have to be running. It does not have to be on the treadmill. Um, it's looking at these heart rates, getting your heart rate elevated to increase the amount of work that your heart can do and how well it responds to that activity. So it can look like a million different things. It does not have to be on the treadmill if you really just hate the treadmill. That's just easy and accessible for many people. Walking and running is it can be very accessible, but there's other options.
Absolutely. And actually, before we wrap up, you just reminded me. I almost forgot something really important that I wanted to talk about. So going back to what I said earlier about making it easy, this is something I actually heard on another podcast, and I've already started doing it, and it works. So for those of you out there that are just going to the gym, doing your resistance training, whether you're working with a trainer or working on your own, you're already there. The other thing we don't think about is when we finish working out after our resistance training, like I mentioned earlier, your heart rate's already elevated. So instead of having to spend 15 minutes getting up to your target heart rate, do it right after your workout. So, kind of back to the question we talked about earlier about, is there a best time to do it? I think the best time to do it is right after your workout, especially if you don't like cardio. Your heart rate's already elevated. Hop on a treadmill, hop on the elliptical. It's going to take you 5 minutes to get to your target heart rate. And then you got your 10 to 15 minutes of staying there, and then you're done. It's also a nice way to kind of come down from resistance training. Typically, I spend about 5 minutes after I'm in that range that I want to be in, just going slower and cooling things down. So it's a great way to reduce risk of injury as well, and soreness. So just make it easy. I mean, you're already there. Your heart rate's up. It's 10 to 15 minutes. Just hop on a machine, get it done before you leave, and then you're finished with it. It's an easy way to just get it out of the way. All right. So That's about it, guys. Please go to our YouTube, go to Facebook, wherever you watch and listen to this from. Share it, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Um, Reach out to us if y'all have questions. Leave some comments on different topics you'd like to see us cover, and we'll get to it. One last update. I have been in contact with the content development manager of NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. You guys that know me know how I feel about NASM. Everything I do is based on their programming. My certification I'm working on renewing right now is the updated CPT program certification for them. So I've been in contact with him. He's actually going to be coming on this podcast. I've known him for about 15 years. I've worked with him. I've worked alongside of him. Aside from my brother and my dad, I've learned more from this guy working with him in the fitness industry than anybody else. I have to put my brother and my dad first because those guys got me into this and taught me everything I know. But this guy is an absolute genius when it comes to human movement science. So how the body moves and why it moves that way. Um, he's really highly educated on the cognitive aspect of that as well. So we're going to be bringing him on here from time to time, going over some really interesting stuff. So stay tuned for that. I'll make some announcements soon once we kind of get some details pinned down on that. All right, guys, we're going to be signing off, and we'll see y'all next week. Take care.